Hello, what's up? It's Baltic for the Drunken Celts here, and I'm back with my review of Evil Within 2. Now, with Shinji Mikami stepping out of the director's seat and into the game's producer role, supervising the development of Evil Within 2, or Psycho Break 2 as it's known in Japan, I was interested to see what John Johannes could do with the budding franchise. And I'm happy to report that the sequel was a marked improvement in every way over the original, providing a genuinely harrowing survival horror experience with brilliant atmosphere, engaging story, tough yet satisfying combat and edge of your seat tension. It creates an experience that will stick with you long after the credits roll. Sebastian Castellanos, aka the unluckiest man in the world, is back for another descent into the madness that is the Evil Within 2. Continuing 3 years on from the events of the first game, we find Sebastian drowning his sorrows like an alky-balm, trying to cope with the loss of his family and the horrors he witnessed at Beacon Mental Hospital. It's now at his lowest when he's approached by Julie Kidman, his former police partner and Mobius agent, the nefarious global organisation behind all of Sebastian's woes. It's here you learn your daughter Lily is still alive and being used as the core inside the latest Mobius STEM program, a virtual simulation of a small American town called Union. Something has gone terribly wrong and Mobius now wants you as the sole survivor of the Beacon incident to enter Union and find Lily. Given little choice, Sebastian is thrown headfirst into another twisted nightmare. Now, I don't want to spoil anything here, and as generic as you might think the plotline of the father going against all odds to rescue his daughter is, the story the game tells is fantastic, and by the end, I really felt for Sebastian, which was certainly not what I was expecting. Watching him gradually come to terms with his guilt and the inner demons over losing his wife and daughter, witnessing the horrors of STEM and learning the truth behind the events of Lily's fake death and his wife's disappearance had me really engaged throughout this tale of horror and redemption. Along the way you will encounter some Mobius agents who are generally friendly characters, and they can aid you along your way, offering small safe rooms as a brief respite from the ever-present tension of Union streets. The game has some truly epic villains and inspired enemy design. The psychotic artist Stefan is a personal highlight, and the encounters that you'll have with him are some of the most compelling and disturbed in the entire game. Also, there are a good variety of enemies, all quite horrific and disturbingly freaky. The supporting cast of characters, while not great, are all good enough and fit well with the genre, even providing a few laughs now and then, and who can all shine some light on the world around you. The main cast are the standouts here, and by the end of the story I was actually quite moved. Again, not to spoil anything, but the finale of this game is nothing short of spectacular. The pacing is spot on and it feels like a fitting conclusion to your gruesome and gory adventure. Everything is wrapped up nicely without the feeling of being rushed or plugging some upcoming DLC. In fact, I'd go as far to say as this is one of the most satisfying endings to a game I've played in quite some years, and it's leaps and bounds ahead of the first game. So from the moment you start Evil Within 2, the game is absolutely dripping with atmosphere. The sound design is superb, from the amazingly haunting music to the chilling screams and grunts of your enemies, from the hammy voice acting to the infinitely satisfying blast of your trusty shotgun. It all contributes greatly to immersing you inside the world of Evil Within. Often just the familiar or unfamiliar sound of an enemy had the hair on the back of my neck standing on edge, and had me creeping around the next corner in fear for my life, dreading what next walking abomination I was about to encounter. The graphics, which overall blew me away, while not state of the art, they've done an incredible job, with the hellish creatures and twisted landscapes. From the open streets of Union to the tight corridors of the Marrow, everything is done really well with a good level of detail, and there is especially good use of lighting throughout the entire game. The very fact that you're in a computer simulation gives the developers a lot of freedom with their design choices, and this is used in unique and interesting ways. There's so much to see here, and a lot more variety than you might ever expect. Also, Special mention to the blood effects. They are over the top but oh so good, and oftentimes I found myself almost wanting to die just to see what gruesome manner I'd be killed in next via one of the many unique death animations. The game itself is split into various sections, a few of which being quite large, and they give a nice open world feel to the game, while remaining compact enough that there's always something of interest to be seen around every corner. Now for such scope, I only really encountered 2 bugs in my 20 plus hours time in the game, and only one of those caused me to reload a save and lose a small bit of progress. Not really a major deal. Now let's get into the gameplay now, and this is possibly where they've made the biggest improvement from the first game. Not since Resident Evil 4 do I think the survival horror genre has been nailed quite like this, and the balance of the game is perfection. You always feel on edge and vulnerable to the various terrors that are roaming around the world, and there are some enemies that you'll just have to avoid or run from, hoping to only escape with your life intact. Managing precious ammo and health packs is essential, and being well prepared for any encounter will often be your best chance of survival. Exploration is also encouraged, and you'll be searching around for upgrades and weapon materials, uncovering secrets and information all to help you on your search. Stealth, while not essential, is highly encouraged, and much better this time around, with stealth kills not being limited to blade pickups, such as in the first game. Stealth though is to your advantage, even if it's just to thin the herd as much as possible before going loud and engaging enemies in combat, or you can simply try and avoid enemy groups altogether if you're good enough to sneak past. That being said, you have enough weapons and tools at your disposal to handle any situation. With a bit of skill, planning, or even just plain luck, you should be okay in most encounters. Now the crossbow itself is very useful given its various ammo types such as shock, freeze and explosive bolts, but I found the shotgun to be my go-to weapon here. It's so satisfying to use and an absolute essential for crowd control. All the weapons can be upgraded along with your character's skills and health, and there is also a crafting system in the game which can be done at a workbench or on the fly for a higher resource cost. Now some people may not like the controls and complain about the aiming in this game, but personally I had no problem with them. There's even a shooting range minigame for you if you need to practice, and you can earn little rewards from them, which are quite handy. Now my only complaint is I think the character walks a wee bit slow, but I see why they did this, and I know it's a game choice because not being able to outrun most things in the game only adds to the tension, and I was on the edge of my seat for most of my playthrough, which clocked in at about the 20-hour mark. Now, I must make mention of the boss fights in this game, which I absolutely loved. These are the wow factor moments of the game, and it will task you to use different tactics and game mechanics for each one. There is only one fight in the game I thought was a little unfair, but that's a minor complaint. And it's also worth noting that for you to get everything from this game, it's going to take at least a couple of playthroughs, and for the hardcore among you, there is also the Nightmare mode and Classic mode, which sounds like a form of self-harm to me, but each to their own I suppose. Now, New Game Plus also lets you keep the majority of your upgrades, which makes for a different, more overpowered, fun kind of experience, and it's good just to go back and wreck those enemies that gave you so much trouble the first time around. Now, this combined with various collectibles and difficulty levels makes for a really good replay factor. In summation, this game is an absolute essential to fans of the genre, and I highly recommend it to anyone else interested in an awesome game. With a compelling story, spectacular atmosphere, and gameplay to match, this game is a must buy, and I give it a solid 9.8 out of 10.
Get your hands off me!
I was hoping you'd come willingly, Sebastian.
So as always, let us know what you thought in the comments below. Check out our other reviews and features and hit that subscribe button for more. This is Baltic for the Drunken Celts, signing off. Catch you!